So how are you managing life in preparation for a new human being in your house?
Oh man. I mean, here's the thing. Here's the update, guys. There's no amount of preparation, right? You know, as a parent, you know, there's just no amount. You think you're ready, but that little infant, them first 2 months, gonna smack you around a little bit, dude.
What do you think you have to do left? You got all the little things you need.
We're using this spring break. Victor's going to be out of town visiting his family in North Carolina, so we're going to take this week to set up Brody's room. Everything's in there. We just got to put some things together and organize some things. But you know,
did you decide the theme?
The theme, dinosaurs and space. We decided both of them.
Why not?
Yeah.
So he got his own room.
He got his own room.
What do you do with because everybody's a little different. What do you do with what did you do with Victor when he was a baby in terms of like when did you put him in his own room? Did you do the baby monitor thing? Did you have him in your room? Like what you do?
Yeah, what did I do? So when Victor was a teeny tiny, we lived in Hawaii, and he slept with us. He slept in our room. We did the whole co-sleeping thing. Turns out, not the best idea.
They say
it's not the best idea. You know, for the first 2 weeks, he was kind of just there. You know what I mean? You know, on one of our chests or right next to the bed. That in turn made it very difficult when the time did come to get him into, his crib and then eventually the crib out of the room in a different room. It took a lot longer. So this time around, it's going to be different. We say that. So
it does. We'll see. I think
we'll see. It'll be in our room. He'll be in our room for a while, in his own crib on the other side of the room. So
yeah, no,
that's the goal.
They find their way they like it. Mm-hmm. It seems like every generation it changes the whole rules on how you should put your baby. When we were babies, my mom told me that every baby slept face down. Just put them face down. Now it's like, be careful with that because they might not, whatever, you know, there's all this.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing. You know what else is a real thing? The babies are resilient. And so are human beings and you know, whatever. So you do what's best in your eyes, right? Like everybody's gonna have a little bit of different.
Don't put your baby with its undeveloped neck muscles up against fluffy pillows and blankets and stuff, because if they do get trapped, they literally can't.
Yeah.
Resilient or not, they literally can't move away.
Yeah, but the preface that was, but the first thing was just sleeping face down. Like this thing's like, they do that.
It's on your back now.
It's calming. What do you mean on your back?
My baby sleep on her back.
Oh no, but if you choose to put your baby face down, I guess the point is a lot of these things is like recommendations. They're not hard and fast rules that your baby will die.
Well, of course not. We're talking about mitigating risk though.
Sleeping face down ain't that big of a risk.
I didn't say that was a risk. I was just saying the reason why the whole SIDS thing and all these rules and regulations.
Oh yeah, I'm specifically talking about how you put your baby when he sleeps. It's like, because you talked about putting the baby with you in the bed and stuff like that, like how the baby sleeps specifically. It's like, it's kind of up to you and the headache you want to give yourself later, or whether or not, because that is true. No matter what, if that baby's sleeping with you a lot, it's gonna be a problem later. To sleep alone, because you get used to it. You get used to your bed, and this ain't my bed.
You know, it's funny. With Victor, we got rid of binkies, the pacifiers, pretty quickly, because I was sick and tired of him during the night going. And I'd go and I'd hear it and I go, are you? And then, and I was just one night I looked at him. He was basically brand new. He was like 3 or 4 months old. And I was like, okay, we're going to go ahead and throw these away. And we did. And it was like a week of hell. And then he was all right.
That's how a lot of parents, I think that's the case all the time. Well, there's outliers, right? But I think for the most part, you take it away, you let them cry for a little bit and they just learn to do without. They figure things out. You don't absolutely need that. It's real helpful. And a lot of times when you're juggling stuff, it's like you need him quiet now. You need 2 seconds of peace for a second, like to deal with other things.
I had a really funny picture pop up, speaking of babies, on my Facebook today. This came up. This is when he was on Binkies. And it's a picture of me when Victor was very small and I had a Binky in my mouth. It was one of those fun comical Binkies that had a mustache. And I have it on in this photo. But Bree was like, man, I can't wait to see that side of you. Because, you know, she never got to experience the the daddy Matt in the first year. You know what I mean? You know, she came into Victor's life when he was just about to turn 2, so she never got to see, you know, that side of me. And we were all eating breakfast today, the 3 of us in the kitchen, and I was telling Victor, I was like, yeah, you wait till you see me with this baby, Vic. It's gonna be a lot of fun, a lot of funny stuff. I used to dance with you when you were tiny. I used to hold you and I would dance with Earth, Wind, and Fire and all kinds of old funk music. And I was like, and I started laughing because I said, and it didn't work though, because he can't stand that kind of music. Whenever I put it on these days, he's like, oh, Dad, do we have to listen to this? I'm like, don't stop till you get it up. Come on. Don't stop. And he hates it, dude. He hates that kind of stuff. So I thought we had a good laugh about that. I was like, I didn't brainwash you enough, apparently. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it, dude. I'm ready. July 3rd. That's the due date. July 3rd. We shall see. We shall see.
Was that 4 months from now?
I don't even know. What year is it? What day is it? What month is it?
Probably in April.
We're in April. Yeah.
April, May, June.
Happy April Fools. Did you see any fun April Fools pranks or jokes? You know what? Maybe it's just who I'm following these days. I didn't see as much shenanigans on April 1st. I think everyone's just freaking exhausted.
I saw like companies like actual brands like IGN and video game people and companies with their Facebook pages like doing little jokes. Like, did you see that so and so announced that he's gonna be in this movie? And it was a joke. It's obvious.
There was a great one in the football world. The Washington football team, FedEx owns the naming rights. And those minority owners, one of them was FedEx, and they just got bought out. We talked about it last week. And it was, there's this, in the DC area, for all my DC friends, you've seen these commercials. The Eastern Motors commercial. It's this kind of small town, small company, used cars, buying. It's a car lot, basically, Eastern Motors. And they always bring on a lot of the Washington players to, cameo in their little fun commercials. And they got this real catchy, theme songs like Eastern Motors. It's like this old school kind of hip hop thing. And there was a great post, and Washington retweeted it. It said that, the naming rights to the stadium has been, bought out by Eastern Motors. And they got so many people. They were like, and not like, yeah, right. But it was just like, wow, I didn't know Eastern Motors had that kind of money. Like, dang, they kind of sleeping on Eastern Motors. And dude, it was real funny. They got me at first. I was like, wait, what? Because, I forget it was April Fool's, dude. You know what I mean? I forget. I'm like, oh, yeah. It's just another freaking day for me, dude. So that one got me. That was pretty good. The Virginia Aquarium had a pretty good one. Pretty good one with the photoshopped eagle ray. Oh, yeah. They had a spotted eagle ray, and they put an actual bald eagle's head on it. That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
They did good with that. It looked nice.
And you know what's funny? I noticed that the Virginia Zoo, later in the day, like 4 or 5 p.m., did one kind of similar. They did a unicorn. I was like, oh, y'all weren't planning that until you saw the aquariums thing. That's funny. Yeah, I see what you're doing over there. But it didn't get pranked too much. Victor, when he learned of April Fool's, he didn't know what this was. Because I was telling Bree the day prior, I was like, because, she's not gullible, but she's kind of gullible. I was like, hey, you need to watch out on the internet tomorrow. She's like, what? I was like, April Fool's. Victor was like, what's April Fool's? I said, April Fool's is, boom, 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 a day where people like to trick things and all that. And he was like, and I was like, what are you laughing at? He was like, this might be my new favorite day. And I was like, yeah, okay. So he was pretty excited to learn about that. And it's funny as a parent, it's like, you have to remind yourself that there are things that our children are still learning about. That's a silly example, the whole April Fool's thing. But it's like, I was discussing with you the other day, when we listen to music and song lyrics and stuff, he's always asking me, he's like, what does this mean? What does that mean? What is this word? And it's like, yeah, these guys are still trying to figure it out, man. A lot of people think that, once they're autonomous, a first grader, it's like you lose sight of the fact that, he's still learning what time is. You know what I mean? Still learning what an hour means. It's like, they're so smart in so many ways, but they've still got so far to go, and you just got to keep that in mind as a parent. Yeah,
music is crazy nuanced.
And of course I have to broach that subject very carefully. We're not listening to terrible music around Vic with a lot of cursing and all that, but even some of the stuff I love, like some of the oldies and stuff like that, he asks what these themes are about, what this song is about, and kind of skirting that in a very developmentally appropriate way. With love and heartbreak and struggle and those kind of things. But I find it very challenging and very fulfilling to have those conversations with him. I like doing that. It's a lot of fun. I love having conversations with that kid, man, and trying to explain things to him, because it makes you kind of start evaluating things, keeps you sharp, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm looking forward to the next chapter with our new little guy. So get to do it all over again, man.
You said the other day something about getting eggs ready. Are you doing something for Easter?
Yeah, we're not, because he's going to be out of town. Yeah, my wife, part-time coaches for a cheerleading group, and they're doing a really brilliant fundraiser where you pay them X amount of dollars, and cheerleaders from the gym will come late at night on Saturday night and hide eggs all over your yard, so you don't have to do it, and it helps out the gym and helps them buy equipment and go on competition fees and things like that. So I was over at the cheer gym the other day stuffing eggs. That was ridiculous. It was like, all right, we need 30 bags of 70 eggs, and it's like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We had fun. So I'm actually going to help them out on Saturday night. Bree's going to drive around a bunch of the ninjas that go and do it, and so I'm just going to drive with her and hang out with her. So that'll be cool. So I thought that was a really unique and cool way to fundraise. So yeah, we're doing that. But Vic recently, he so we don't have any children watching the show, so it's fine to say he figured out that the ruse about Santa and the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy and all these things, and he just kind of came to it on his own. And so, but he's such a smart kid, and he's real excited that he's in on it, and he's excited that he has to he can't tell his friends and all that. And I'm like, it's very important, because he was like, some of my friends in first grade, Dad, they think the Easter Bunny is coming on Sunday. I was like, you cannot say anything. Don't say anything. He's like, oh, I won't. He's very excited to be in the know, you know what I mean? So he's kind of beyond that now. I don't know what the age group is where they kind of start figuring things out like that. And of course, it depends on if you
stomp out their dreams and ruin their childhood.
Yeah. Right.
Then welcome to the club. There's plenty to talk about.
Yeah, man. Welcome. Here we go.
I get it.
Victor's excited for Christmas now that he's going to be a Santa for his little brother. You know what I mean? He can wake up and sneak down and maybe put some gifts and be kind of part of the part of the fun. So, not too many plans for Easter. Mm-hmm. Probably just get that baby room going, this weekend.
Yeah, no. Spring break will be. It's like spring break don't really too much.
Yeah, no. Spring break for us, it's like, what are you doing with your kids? They're all off.
I don't know. I was wondering if to go visit family or something, or I don't know.
It's a good idea.
I really don't know. Just because with what we do, there is no you don't necessarily say, hey, you don't quickly shut off the lights and say, all right, let's go.
We'll be back in a week.
Coincidentally, there might be some space to do that next week anyway, because it's we broke our backs the last 2 weeks.
We've been burning that
Not
oil,
even for
dude.
this. I forgot that spring break was coming up, and coincidentally, I was like, wait a minute. We kind of caught up. I might be able to do something, but
take a few days, man.
I don't know, man.
It's
just it's especially, it depends when you want to travel. You've traveled before. I don't know. It's the last time you traveled for real, but when I go far, I want to be there 3-4 days. Make it worth it. Honestly, I want to be there a week. That's
the golden
that's
number.
When it feels like, okay, I spent my time here.
I took a trip.
Because it's if you're driving, even if you're flying, the first and last days don't count. You're traveling, you're gonna get in, you're gonna want to rest.
I think that's really definitely applicable for places that are far.
Yeah,
if you're doing a quick
far.
weekend trip.
Yeah, no, if you go to DC or something,
you could do
you want to go see
2-3 days, and it's all good.
That's actually a good idea too. DC is always a good, nice trip to go see the
dude. Go to Richmond.
Stuff.
Go to Richmond. They got some wild museums there, dude. Really legit museums.
Yeah,
beautiful museums and really fun. It's a fun little day trip.
I need to take the kids to New York. I gotta. The Annalise, the last time she went was really young. I don't think she remembers much. But New York is kind of like a DC trip in that there's a ton of history and museums and cool stuff to see up there.
Oh yeah,
in the main city.
Man, we did that New York trip a couple years ago and had a freaking ball. But we were up there for 5 days.
Yeah,
we went up there and we took our time. Yeah,
I feel if I'm driving more than 4 hours or something.
Yeah.
More than that. Well, what's funny? I say that and immediately I think about when we go to the Natural Bridge. We've done that a few times. And that's a weekend thing. But yeah, those long trips. If you're going to Florida, I'm not going to Florida for 2 days. I'm not.
I can't remember the last time I was in Florida.
I know a person that went to Florida, drove down there, was there for the afternoon and drove back. I'm like, it's not me, man. I can't do it.
No.
I can't do it.
No.
I can't. And when we do the Florida drive, we don't do the, we avoid that like crazy. Now we budget for the plane. But when we did it, we do it all in one shot. So we weren't stopping for the to sleep or nothing like that.
Now use the restroom and get a bite to eat, and then you're back on the road.
That's 12 solid hours.
Dude, driving down 95 is the worst. Driving south on 95, it's just like those those trees, dude, like the whole time. Ugh. At least when you go north, you got some variety, especially if you're going up to New York. You take one, you know what I mean, and go up that way and go over the beautiful the bridge and all that, and you got the Eastern Shore heading up that way. So at least there's something to look at. But man, 95 going south, there ain't shit to look at, dude. It's just blah for like 12, 13 hours, dude.
The trick with all that stuff is having somebody to talk to, because you sit in that car quiet, that drive feels like 12 hours.
Yeah, no, it feels like
you start
days.
talking, it's like a few hours pass, and you didn't even notice it. The best
podcast, baby, podcast, man, podcast, and audiobooks was big. Audiobooks too.
I thought you were saying podcast while you're driving, like that'd be good too.
Oh,
put a GoPro on the windshield, and do an
episode and lav it up. Lav it up. We should do that sometime, man.
I thought about that the other day.
Next time we were going on a day trip or something. It'd be fun.
Yeah, no, because the majority of this podcast is conversations we were going to have anyway. We're not having new conversations for the podcast.
No.
We were going to talk about this, whether we were working or not. This conversation was going to just take place while we're working.
It was just going to happen. Dude, we have full episodes just over there while we're editing, dude.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was like, we could really knock out two birds with one stone if we had a camera in the car and just
have our conversations.
This is the mobile podcast today. Like, it doesn't make a difference. Does this matter that much? I like this. I don't think it does too much. Like,
it's more about the content, dude. No one cares what. Yeah, it's whatever, man.
I want to get this to audio, because that's how I consume podcasts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Same.
The video is cool because we have cameras, so we're gonna do it on video. But I consume it through the audio. I want to just get on the Apple thing and just listen to it. Like that's.
No, we could pursue that. We could do that.
It sounds good. It's not even expensive. Like we tell everybody too. Like if you got a business, you should have a podcast. Like. Do it once a week, do it once a month or whatever, but it's not expensive.
It's one of those things where everybody's got one now.
Yeah, why not? It's just like music, though.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's an artist is not a reason to not be an artist.
True. And there are people that are more interesting than others.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Your niche. Yeah.
Consistency is always a thing. We talked about it a million times. Consistency. You could think you're horrible, but we are not super unique. We're all special, but we're not super unique. Our personality types fit within a book of 7, right?
Yes, correct.
It's like there's 7 personality types. If you're consistent, you're gonna find a group of those 7
will enjoy your stuff.
Will follow you, and eventually they'll give you a couple dollars. And if nothing else, you have fun and you get a little Patreon action or something. That's what a lot of people are doing now. Patreon, this is a subscription platform for your content. So it's like once you identify that you got 1,000 followers, maybe you go, okay, you guys want to pay me $1 a month, like. You didn't have. You were gonna do it for free anyway, right? Like
get some behind the scenes. Get some behind the scenes of Matt and Tony.
Yeah, no,
ain't not much to look at, y'all.
No, nothing else.
There's really not.
It's not much.
There's a bunch of fart jokes and office quoting and working. Really,
I don't know that there's not too much behind the scenes that
we'd have to have somebody come and film us to get the true experience. You know what I mean?
And it'll be more of this.
Yeah.
It'd be more.
It's just this kind of crap.
I'm not and talking about what behind the scenes would look like reminds you, like I'm a private person, but believe it or not, if I were to just pull back the curtain and show all the secrets, there's not much there. Like I kind of live like this is what I am, and that's it. Kind of unapologetically Tony. Like I don't. There's some things that are private in terms of details. I don't know, like finances and maybe an argument here and there, but I don't know. I'm not a super. There's no hidden skeletons or nothing like that. Like a behind the scenes would be exactly what you see, what you would expect.
What would be wild if we did a behind the scenes show, and then when you get to my house, I'm like a total ass. Like I'm just mean and just a completely different guy. That might be worth it. But what you see is what you get, guys. So this is us unfiltered. Well, maybe not unfiltered, but because we do, I filter myself for sure on this show. But in terms of personality and goofball, that's just what it is, man.
The content and conversations are unfiltered for the most part. We massage it just because this is a business platform. We massage it a little bit, but This is how we talk to customers too. Mm-hmm. It's the same exact way. Like this is how we. There's not a whole different. We throw on the suit and go over there and sir, ma'am, and then like it's not stuffy. It's not super like rigid and phony.
We had a gig recently where somebody that hadn't worked with us before was like, wow, you know, man, you guys really made me feel so comfortable, and that was actually a lot of fun, and I didn't think it was going to be like that. And I was like, that is what you get with Tsunami Digital Media LLC.com. That's what you get. That's what you get, man. We're not the suits, like you said. That's a good way to put it. We're not the suits. We're not going to show up and call it on set, and we're not going to, you know, I'm not going to say, Tony, hand me the 50 millimeter, please. Hand me the 25.
You know,
hand me
it's
the
funny,
50.
and yeah, you know this, but for the people that like, what we're trying to say is like we're just regular people at all times.
Regular dudes, man.
I don't know why that goes away. I mean, when you're an employee and you always have a supervisor and you got to dress up and you got to make sure that you.
The proper
we don't have
greeting,
that issue. We don't have these problems.
Dude, in the Marine Corps,
don't exist
in the military, it's the proper greeting of the day. Oh my God, I thought that was the funniest thing.
That's a real
like people
thing.
had to really learn how to say good morning to people. Good morning, Master Sergeant. Good afternoon, Sergeant Major. Like I'm like, this is not natural to you. Like it's just a respect thing. Just saying hello. Yeah, no, they teach it. It's the proper greeting of the day. If you walk past somebody.
What do you mean of the day? But when you say of the day, you say
greeting
every
of the day.
day.
So morning, afternoon, evening.
No, but they're teaching you this every day, or they just told you once.
It's called the greeting of the day.
Okay, so they're teaching you. So whenever you see somebody for the first time that day, this is how you're supposed to do it.
Or no, every single time. If I see the same Sergeant Major 3 times during the day, I will greet him and say hello, or her hello.
What's that silliness about?
It's the rank thing. And now, if they're your rank or below, you ain't got to say shit to them. You can say, what's up? You say, what's up, dude?
Okay.
Hey, what's going on?
So you go past somebody that you know, and you typically should know, right?
Yeah, well, you should know because their rank insignia is always on. Yeah, so I have a great story, dude. And I don't know if I told this on the podcast. Speaking of the greeting of the day, I was at a gas station in Hawaii, and the Marine Corps camouflage uniform, it's like those dark greens and blacks and browns, right? And the enlisted rank insignia that are on the collars are black. Flat matte black, not shiny or anything. So they, depending, and every camouflage uniform is different. It's all, you know what I mean? It's just a pattern that's just infinite, right? So one time I was filling up gas and there was like some master sergeant or some high ranking guy with like a giant insignia, but it was like, it looked like a black blob. So I didn't know what his rank was. So I had to walk past this dude to get to the, inside to get a drink or whatever. And I was like, man, I'm going to walk right past this guy. I'm in civilian attire. I'm in like board shorts and a t-shirt and a hat and slippers as they call them out there, flip-flops. And I walked past the guy and I was just like, dude, here's the thing. I knew I wasn't getting out of it. So I was like, well, let me make light of this. So I'm walking up to the guy and he sees me and he's waiting for the proper greeting of the day. And I literally get uncomfortably close to him and go like this. I'm like, good afternoon, Master Sergeant. And he was like, he started laughing. He goes, why'd you look like that? I was like, I couldn't tell what your rank was, Master Sergeant. I couldn't tell. So I had to make sure it was blending in. He was like, all right, hey, enjoy your day. I was like, you too, Master Sergeant. Thank you very much. But yeah, no, you let a young Marine walk past like a sergeant or something like that and not say shit.
So even when you're not in uniform, you got to play that game?
Absolutely.
I don't like that. But I wasn't in there,
for your unit, because you know the people in your unit. But, outside of work, like if I saw somebody that had a high and tight, you don't have to say anything to them unless you know them.
Yeah.
Like if I know that's the base commander, I'll say, sir, good afternoon, sir. Like I recognize you. You know what I mean? Yeah. The greeting of the day, the proper greeting of the day.
I can see it.
It's respect the rank, not the man. And I was always like, you got that reversed. But
that's true too. That's true too.
But yeah, those are one of the weird day-to-day things that I don't have to abide by these days. It's one of those little weird quirks. But yeah, greeting of the day. But yeah, we're just regular guys now, man. We're just regular guys now. We just regular.
That blows my mind a little bit, like because
really.
No, in terms of just like I know this exists. I just don't. It's not for me. Like for somebody to stand there and wait and see. So let me see what Tony's gonna do now. Like let me see if he comes and greets me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do well in that situation.
Yeah.
I would.
Well, what you would do is you would just find another way to walk so that you didn't have to get close, because it has to be close. Like you can't be across the street. Good afternoon, Master Sergeant. No, that's not like that. But if you walk past somebody in a hallway,
Forrest Gump type.
Yeah, no, for real. That's funny, dude. I never thought about it that way. That'd be super freaking belligerent too. Like you see like a sergeant with, across like, good afternoon, sergeant. Like walking to fucking 7-Eleven. He's like, are you kidding me? Yeah, no, that was always funny, man. Always funny to me. Yeah, but that gas station, yeah, I'll never forget that. That was so funny, dude. Yeah. He laughed though.
I guess, and you know this to be true because I hear this from other people. But it's like in the military, there are certain personality types that could be abusive. And they enjoy their position and how they can abuse it
and dominate people,
and they enjoy like knowing that they could get away with it.
Sure,
like and yeah. No. In certain ways, I think I would have done great in the military, but that right there, I would have done horrible.
Well, the military is no different than the real world. There are always jerks and abusers of power, no matter where you go. A staff sergeant in the Marine Corps is your general manager at your restaurant. It's all the same. Now, of course, there's degrees of extreme. You can't be in the restaurant. Well, I don't know. I've heard some wild stories about the restaurant business. Let's not use that one. But
it depends where you're working.
You know what I mean? You can't just all of a sudden say, "Hey, go do this," and they're like, "I don't know. Let me get to it later." Be like, "No, you do it right now." You can't do that in the real world. Well, you can, but you'll get fired.
Yeah, so some organizations you can get away with it. Depends how big it is. Like if you work in a restaurant, it depends. Is it a family restaurant? Is it a national chain?
Or hey, maybe you're the cook in the back and you've been busting your ass for 8 years and you have some underlings, dishwashers, and they're slacking, then I'm sure people will be screaming at each other back there. Actually, I know for a fact that happens. So
yeah, like that Gordon Ramsay thing, I wouldn't do well with that too.
Yeah.
Like that whole I don't care. I don't care. You're Michelin, whatever. Like I know you're not gonna talk to me, yelling at me, and a lot of that has to be for TV. It has to.
Oh sure.
Like the big meme where he puts the sandwich around the girl's ears and he was like, "You're an idiot sandwich." I'm like, that better be TV.
He's like, it would be funny. It'd be funny.
Yeah, it has to be like, please let me. Like,
what if I took the bread and made it between your head?
Has to.
Called you an idiot.
You about to touch somebody like it's just and all that yelling and name calling.
There are times where in the Marine Corps, at least in my limited experience with my job that I did, it was freeing to be able to speak the way you want to speak, basically wherever. You know what I mean? Of course, when you're out in public and you're in the public eye, you're going to act a certain way. But like when you're back at base and you're in your area, being able to just talk how you want to talk, get business done the way you want to get done without having to try to censor yourself was very freeing and very nice. I was never the guy that would just sit there and scream at people for no reason. But there were times where, sometimes you got to raise your voice a little bit. And being able to just do that and not have to worry about it. That's just the way of life in the military, at least in the Marine Corps was kind of cool. But that's one of the very few things that I kind of miss. Dude, I had a good friend of mine. I will not name his name, but it was so funny. There was a friend of mine. We were a sergeant or staff sergeant or something like that, and there was a young Marine, like a lower ranking Marine, that wasn't getting the idea here, and he needed to do something, and he kept slacking and putting it off. And this guy walked past me, the sergeant. He was like, "Hey man, watch this." I was like, "Huh?" And he goes into his office and he just screams for this kid's name. He was like, "Such and such, get in here!" The kid, they go in there. Dude, I'll never forget the line. He said something about what the hell was taking so long with this. And he came up with some excuse and he cut him off in mid-sentence. He goes, "It's time to be a man. It's time to be a man." And I will never forget that. At the top of his lungs, screaming that at this young, poor, little 18, 19-year-old kid. And it's time to be a man, dude. And I just thought that was the funniest thing. But, you could do those things. You could say those kinds of things and yell at people. And it was crazy. It was crazy.
During boot camp or outside?
No, this is in the fleet. This is it's time, baby. It's time. From time to time, you gotta, you put on that big boy voice. Surprisingly effective, though.
I suppose.
What do I say? I respond to strong leadership.
Yeah, it's a strong leadership.
Oh man.
I guess these things don't become a problem if you just do what you're supposed to do.
Sure.
Do what you're supposed to do.
Sure.
And that's kind of like why the few run-ins I've had with anyone that tried to do something like that in the regular workplace, I never accepted it because I know my worth in the workplace. I know that I do a good, wherever I've been, I've done a good job and I've taken it serious. And I've done my best to excel and kind of rise to like
never got in trouble or made a big mistake that warranted some kind of reprimand or something like that.
No, I can't think of anything where like I something like that. No.
Yeah,
because again, whatever I did, I always wanted to be like the best at. So if it was a minor thing, I wanted to do that faster than everybody else. I wanted to make sure it was done right. Because I've said this before, I'm lazy, so I work hard. Like I'm lazy. I want to get it done once. I know if I take shortcuts, I'm gonna have to go back and do that again. Whether it's today or a month from now, I'm gonna have to fix that problem or involve other people to help me fix it. So I'm lazy. I value my free time, so I want to get it done right the first time. I want to get it done as soon as possible because I want to be able to slack off as early as I can.
So you're saying your weaknesses are actually
my strengths, right?
Your strengths.
But this is truly how I treat like the work. It was always like, but you saw this in real time when I worked over at Hermes. It's like I want to get in and grind and get my work done as quick as I can. If I can knock out a whole day's work in 2 hours, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to kick back and watch the rest of you break your back as you try to rush and get out of here on time. Because people had it opposite. Like people would walk in, especially in offices, they would love to let me go get my coffee. Let me get warmed up. And so how was your day? How was yours? How's the weather? How's the kids? I didn't do any of that. While they were doing that, sitting in the break room, getting their coffee and getting their breakfast, people would clock in, go have breakfast. In the break room, and then go have coffee, and then go drink their water, and then go talk with each other, walk up and down the hall, and I'm here fast. I'm like, I'll talk to you guys later. Like I'll hang out later, and I'd be done like in the first couple hours.
That's why everything should be commission based. Everything,
and then I'm just hanging out.
And performance based and commission based. You're gonna have nobody slacking. You should bring back the shackles.
You should bring back the stocks.
Stocks. The shackles.
They should bring the stocks.
Bring back the stocks. There'll be less criminals.
Like Dwight, I thrive under accountability, under equal accountability. I thrive in that space. But I don't do well in just what I was getting at is you talked about the whole military thing. It's like if you're doing the right thing, those things shouldn't be a problem.
Absolutely.
When they do become a problem, I'm like, I'm not going to accept that. I'm not. I don't. No. I'm not. I've told somebody before. I bet you don't talk to your kids that way. You're not about to talk to me like that. Like, no, you're not. Like we at home we quote the Green Mile. We say the job be damned. There's no job that's going to be worth to me more than my self-respect and being able to go home and feeling like I could walk out of here, with some confidence. Like I'm not going to just be humiliated, and I'm not. I'll just find another job then. Like I will work that out.
Yeah, I agree.
My parents went through the same thing when I was a kid in New York. If I recall correctly, my mom went through a bad situation at work where getting yelled at or whatever, something like that. And it's just like, no, I'm done. I'm not going to take the disrespect. You're not going to humiliate me. Like I'm moving on. Like money will come and go. There's going to be a lot of hardship, and unfortunately, and here's the thing. Unfortunately, I get it. I don't want to fault anybody that goes through a tough situation and they feel like they just got to eat it for now. Because some people's situations is tough. It's like, I have to eat it for now. I have to. And I empathize with that because I've seen that. But I'm the type of person that historically it's like, nah.
Well, that's another thing. It depends on the job too. It's like sometimes, you could just go, you know what? I could take my talents down the street. But it depends on the industry too. It depends. You work hard, right? And you get to a point where you do something, a certain way, or do a certain skill or job, and then you might have to eat it, baby. There might not be that many opportunities elsewhere.
Yeah, no, it depends. Everybody's situation is going to be super unique for a bajillion different reasons. I remember when I was working at the restaurant, it felt real toxic. I knew it was toxic. I knew I had to leave for my own sanity, right? But every so often, I'd mess around and get a raise. And what that did was, it was a Band-Aid on a frustration and the toxic situation first. But what it also did that I had to learn and just grow through that experience was the little bit of more money I made, I was spending more. And what happened there was I painted myself kind of into a corner to where I started making more. Like I started making significantly more than I would get anywhere else to start.
Sure.
So if I would have quit, I now spent more than I would be able to live off. Like I'd have to make drastic changes to my life. Like I started spending. Like, I got, I started at $7 and now I'm at 20 something. Like I am living a 20 something dollar life now.
That golden rule.
I can't quit and go make 10 somewhere because I'm going to have to get rid of stuff that I have now. And you have to go where you are, or you got to go up.
You gotta go sideways or go up. Sometimes you might have to go down, but the idea is you take a new job somewhere. I gotta at least make what I was making.
Yeah, no, and
usually more. You want more.
And now that I'm older, I look back and the mistake I made was just, and I'm young at that time, like super young. And every kid's most likely gonna make mistakes like that. They go get credit cards, they go do all these crazy things because you have this freedom, this unfiltered freedom now to do whatever you want. And it's like that could be dangerous if it's not checked. If you don't have good people in your circle. More if you're not listening to good people, because I'm sure you got good parents and stuff that probably told you, be careful with these credit cards, be careful with loans. You know, you don't need every video game.
You're looking at it, dude.
Every sneaker.
You're looking at it.
So it's like if youth is wasted on the young, they say, right? Because at that time, it's like you're not listening to no one. You're immortal. And I think especially for a guy, because I live in the guy's world like that, I see through everything through that perspective, especially for a guy. It's like, I'm the champion now. I'm going to do whatever I want. No one can tell me to do anything. And you spend like a dummy. And looking back at it, it's like, I probably would have been able to make a better move job wise if I didn't go spending as much. And I go thinking, I'm like, man, if I would have started like a retirement fund back then, like how much money would I have now? Like if I didn't go spend every dollar down to the last,
to yourself,
like
buddy.
if I got $1,000,
do that.
Well, the reason I do that is because those moves inform today. That informs now what I do. Like that's why I look at like investing and a little bit of stocks and a little bit like what's a good investment. And I do a lot of research and it's like, do I want to get into like maybe get a condo one day? I've thought about that a lot. Do I want to get a condo and like rent that out and deal with that? And what's the headache behind that? And is it worth it? And what would be the returns of owning like another piece of property or something, like something small? And what would I need to do that? Like I think of those things like
it all comes down to people.
How does it scaffold and scale to something to where like, 20 years from now, it'll yield good results? It's a lot of things. I think real estate's a good thing to get into. I'm not ready for it right now, but I'm always planning my moves like 5, 10, and 15 years ahead. Like I'm thinking that like, what I need to do today. I tell the kids all the time. I come across a lot of kids through church and friends of friends and all that stuff that got kids of like 12, 13 years old. And I'm like, especially the ones that are about to graduate high school, I'm like, start planning your moves now. It's a lot to wrap your head around, but start thinking what you want to do and just work on a general path that direction. Like don't think that your 20s, I got plenty of time to figure it out. You kind of do, but you kind of don't. Like use your 20s to kind of start working your way that way. Do you want to go make a video game? Then you need to start, mentorships, programs, and find who you can get in those circles. Don't wait too long because most retirements, you usually got to give about 30 years mostly, unless you're going to the military. But most places it's 30 years. So if you can start down that path in your 20s or, your 30s, the latest.
All depends on who you work for too.
That too. But, if these moves got to be planned out, because what I've learned is it took me about 10 years to get to a comfortable space. So if that rule kind of would apply in a general sense to other people, don't wait until you're 35. Don't wait until you're 40 to start your 10-year journey or your 20-year journey is, I guess, my point.
It's a really good point. Because
it's not, what do you think you're going to live to, 100? And at some point you got to think like you want to earn that rest. You want to be, 70, late 60s and say, I'm going to rest now. I'm going to hopefully enjoy some grandchildren or family or just enjoy time doing whatever I want. Because the body, you're not going to live forever. And the body's going to let you know real quick. The body lets you know pretty much at 30, like you're not immortal. Like around they're 30 and now, it's like, things start hurting. You're not as sharp maybe as you used to be or whatever. There are different things here and there. I can't run as long. I can't get up. I can't get down without making all kinds of noises and hearing cracks. So that journey has to start as soon as you can, because it is not, I don't think for anyone, unless you're super wealthy and super fortunate to have a family structure that can give you a trust or an endowment, whatever you call that. I think most people's journey is going to be, 20 to 30 years to get to that space. There is no fast track and I'm going to get there in 3 years. You know what I mean? Like, so start your 20 to 30 year journey as early as you can. And if you have the maturity and the vision and the right people in your circle to start it in your 20s, I think you're going to be set. But I don't think there is any, there's no retirement starting when you're 50. If you're starting down that path, it's tough. I see them all. I worked with a lady that she worked until the day of her death. I saw her there. The next day she had died. And you know what sucks about this? She had in her office, she had all these pictures. She was like, we're going to retire. And she was like, hey, we're going to retire. I think it was like 5 years. So I'm retiring 5 years and this is where I'm going. I'm going to go see this, that. She had all this stuff. Never saw it. And that's the case with life anyway, right? Because you don't know when you're going to go. But in this case of
I think we're starting to see a lot of that. I think a lot of people are working into their 60s and 70s. That's just kind of the world we're living in, at least in our income level.
Yeah, and I think again that adds credibility more to do what you're gonna do now. Start that move, because I think people just, yes, the economy's terrible. We're living in a world where the dollar's worthless, dude. And Bitcoin's gonna run the planet.
Well, there are fewer and fewer opportunities to work at a single company for 20 to 30 years and get a pension and get a retirement and all this stuff.
No, but pensions don't exist anymore. That's gone.
Yeah.
That's gone. Your retirement now is going to be the stock market, and that's frightening as well.
You have to just put money away.
Yeah, your 401ks is what a lot of people are doing. Your 401ks, your IRAs.
We got to stop. I'm about to get depressed, dude.
The days of the pensions. The days of the pensions are gone.
We got to change the freaking subject. Because you mentioned a number, mid 30s earlier, 35, 39, and I am that way. And what are we doing? We starting this thing where when you said not to. So what are we doing?
I'm saying starting down the path of planning your retirement.
Yeah.
Planning your retirement is now. Yeah. We are building a business. You can do this at any age. I had a person that was 55, I think, or 60, where he told me, I always wanted to open a bike shop. I'm like, open a bike shop then.
Easy to say, man.
It's easy to do. You open a bike shop and you start small. It's very difficult when you start thinking, I need to open Harley Davidson. Mm-hmm. If you want to open a garage and work on a bike or two until you start developing a business, then that is easy to do. It's easy in opening it. The difficult part is going to be you being self-motivated and going to that garage every day and working on one bike when you know one day, I wish I had Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson didn't start as Harley Davidson.
Do your research, y'all.
I'm sure it's a guy in a shop. Amazon. It's like, I want to have a distribution service. Then start in your garage and work on it. That part is very easy to do. It's the hardest part is going to be here. It's not going to be getting the spot and working on the first car. It's going to be knowing I want that Amazon, but I'm sick and tired of just working with one customer at a time and barely making enough to cover this. That's hard. That takes a lot of grit, and I get it. That part is hard, but no, I think there's no age too old to go start chasing a dream or whatever. What I'm saying is from the financial planning, I guess, at least being of the thought, like start working on anybody. If you haven't done it yet, do it now. Start talking to your bank, talk to your family members. Maybe you could put $5 to the side, $20 to the side. There's no small amount to where you start building that interest rate or whatever, and it'll turn into something. It's more motivational. And yes, it could be scary to some people, but it's like
how much you got to make to, well, and of course it's going to vary on your circumstance, but I wonder, there's got to be a number out there where it's like, how much does like a couple, with kids that have flown the nest to survive? There's so many factors, of course. I'm just saying, like, it's a lot. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And that depends on your version of what a lot of money is. It depends
what your expenses are going to be.
But in nowadays America, to have a home, whether that be a small home, doesn't matter, have a couple of cars so that you can traverse and have some food and have to pay the taxes on everything and insurance on everything and all that. It's a pretty penny, dude. It's not like, dude, if I can make $20,000, we're set. Like, no, dude, it's a lot more than that. It all depends on is your house paid off.
But you define, but here's the thing: you have to define your happiness. That number's never going to be a number for anyone because of a million different things. But the bottom line is you have to define your level of happiness.
Yeah. Well, you got to have a dwelling, you got to have food, and you got to have a way to get around.
Right. But the dwelling part,
have health insurance.
The dwelling part and the health insurance, it depends also as well, because at a certain age, what is it? You're eligible for Medicaid, and the government does start taking care of that.
We that's not going to be us.
Yeah, it depends. We say
that ain't gonna be us.
We've been saying that Social Security is not going to exist and stuff like that, and the age gets pushed up. But looking at it, to answer your question, I've been answering that question for myself for the longest, and that's why I've talked about, like, I don't know if I would sell my house now, because I'm thinking 10, 20, 30 moves ahead. If I was going to, the years is what I'm saying. That's the moves, years. I'm thinking if I'm going to, let's say, just assume I'm going to stay making the same thing I'm making now. Just assume that. Then if I stayed in this house, by the time I am 55, the house would be paid off. And that is today where the majority of my expense goes. And that would be gone.
Well, they say it's supposed to be a third of your income goes to your housing. That's the goal, right?
Well, I don't follow that rule.
Yeah, I don't
a lot of my income.
I don't either. I'm like, what the hell?
The majority of my income goes to the house and to fixing the house and to maintaining the house. The majority of my income goes to the house.
Yeah.
When that is gone, I would have an increase in you know, I wouldn't need the same level of money
work,
because between food and healthcare is going to be your next biggest freaking thing. It's enormous.
Yeah.
But again, what they say in the Matrix, there are degrees of survival we are willing to accept. It's talking about they're going to destroy the Matrix and the viruses and they're like, well, because they said if you destroy the Matrix, then you destroy everything. It's like, well, there are degrees of survival we are willing to accept. So what degree of survival is each person willing to accept? What's going to make you happy? And then are you going to be cool with that decision? Mm-hmm. Each person's going to define that. Some people say, you know what? I've heard people say, I've had adults when they're near retirement age, they're like, we're going to sell this house and we're going to move into a small 2-bedroom, just me and the wife.
Downsize.
Some people like that. Mm-hmm. Some people have the dream of like, nah, even when I retire, I need the, you know, I need the big house with the pool and the stuff like that. That's cool too. That's cool.
If you got the money, why not? Enjoy it.
Yeah, no, and if that's what you want, you gotta learn. You gotta learn to work for it.
You ever seen somebody on a jet ski frowning? No.
You did.
You haven't. You haven't.
You did.
I did. But before that moment, he was very happy. That's another story for another day. Anyway, all right, cool, man. Well, very fun. Save your money, everybody.
You know, at least plan your moves. Start thinking about planning.
20 to 30 moves ahead. You heard it.
Everyone. Years.
I just mess with it.
And you should.
No, for sure, man. All right, man.
That's why those years. That's why those loans are 30 years. It's like you don't sign. Are we signing 30-year loans and not thinking about year 30? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, right. No, I think a lot of people are. 30 years from now, it doesn't even seem like reality. It's like,
but
whatever.
You just signed it. It's like,
yeah, no, for sure.
I got to be thinking.
Well, I also hit accept on that Apple agreement.
Oh, no, that's different. But when you do a car loan, it's like,
yeah,
they tell you want to do 3, 5, 7. And I'm thinking, I'm doing the math. Yeah. What year? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm gonna pay.
How old will I be? That's
30 years. And house planning is part of retirement. So
yeah, for sure.
Think 40 moves ahead. We're playing chess, baby. Bobby Fischer over here.
Bobby Fischer. Yeah, man. Awesome. Appreciate you, Tony. Thanks for another fun episode.
It's all right.
Fist bump. I'm Matt.
Tony.
And this is the Tsunami Podcast. You see, we just reverse that. We mix it up from time to time. Life is all about spices. Variety.
Always add spice.
Add that spice. You like Old Bay? Yeah, it's all right.
Oh, baby, Old Bay is good.
It's all right.
I don't have seafood without the Old Bay.
Yeah, really? I don't eat seafood enough. To I don't know. I've had, you know what Old Bay is really good on. I've had like boardwalk style fries with Old Bay.
Oh yeah.
No. That's just the big one. Chesapeake Bay.
I like it on the big fries.
Them wedges, son. Dude, I was in Atlantic City once and we had